Hello, this is Daniel Val with probably no, this is Daniel Val with Wrestling World as I Know It. If I can, I'm going to try to add the episodes that I just recorded. Right. Okay. Um, I'm not sure. Not sure which one is which. I tried to. I tried to delete videos when I can because I'm not sure which one is which, but I believe this is it right here. Oh, this is Daniel Bale, professionally known as Johnny Mac, and welcome to the wrestling world as I 1988. Okay, that's it. I'm glad I can preset things. Move from studio. Okay, preset. Oh, all right. Let's see. Um, Sorry, I saw present right here. I was just thinking. So that's the thing I tried to play. Um, let's see if this is okay. That's not. I don't think that's it. Let me try this. No. Oops. Originally known as Johnny Mac. Okay, this isn't it either. Oh, okay. It's from earlier today. That's all I remember. Hello. Welcome to. I'm sorry. I forget. Oh yeah, Wrestling World as I Know It podcast. I'm gonna take y'all back part three of the timeline Raw versus Nitro ratings war. In 1997, this part three of parts. I'm actually forgetting the date at this moment. But yeah, I was right, March 10th. Last Sunday was the 27th, I believe, anniversary of this episode, and just some notes I took. One question I'd always wondered was when did Psycho Sid win the World Wrestling Federation heavyweight title. For years, I'd asked myself that. And then two other questions were, why are Bret Hart and Steve Austin in a submission match? And speaking of the submission match itself, when did they when did they announce Ken Shamrock as being the special referee for the submission match? And as I wrote right here in my notes, about 3 years ago, I had stopped and after his and right before he died, the last thing I had remembered watching was the the In Your House Final Four pay-per-view event and the episode the night after it. So I got the answer to my first question. And as I started doing this timeline podcast on StreamYard, I got my other two questions. Right here in the beginning of the second hour of Monday Night Raw was when they brought out Ken Shamrock to be interviewed by Jim Ross. But while that happened, before that happened, Psycho Sid cut a promo about what I believe he and Undertaker were still expected to team up by the end of the show, or in the main event of the show. Looking back at some of his promos, I really don't understand why he thought, when he was a member of the Horsemen, why he thought putting him, replacing Ric Flair with himself was the answer to drawing money when the only thing he had was a look. He didn't have anything else. His promos were too over the top. I mean, when they said that Diamond Dallas Page's look was too over the top, that's the only thing that was too over the top with him. When they just let him be himself, let him wrestle at his own pace and show his real life personality, that was what helped him. Psycho Sid, his character was too over the top. It's no wonder he couldn't go as far as he thought he was capable of. Because his vision for his character was too much, even for himself. I would have had an easier time believing that he was short tempered than to believe he was crazy because his promos, yeah, you're supposed to be a psycho, but you didn't just act like a psycho. You just acted delusional, worse than a psycho. Before I continue this, let me just say I know sometimes my logic can seem a little confusing, and for that I apologize. I'll try my best to stop and think in the future before I make that kind of comment. But at the time I said these words, it was just what I thought. And what I. So I'm going to try my best not to sound as confusing in the future. Thank you. Let me continue. That's why I didn't bother hearing his promo. However, by this time, Ken Shamrock was already well known as a UFC fighter. So that's why I believe they put him in this role as a special referee in the first place, is because he was well known for striking and was well known for being an MMA where there's nothing, where everything, most of his opponents by this time, I think most of them came from jujitsu training, so that's what they know how to do, is not just take you down but make you submit. And he was one of the two things he was good at, from my understanding, was not just going for not just making the referee stop his fights right away, but I think he knew submission. I think he knew submission holds also. So I think that was another reason why they had him on here. About what happened on Nitro first. There was a segment between Angie Okerlund and some celebrity where they brought out what looked like a beauty queen in a bikini. And because I don't think this was necessary, I'm not gonna rank that. Not even gonna rank that segment for anything. However, the next match I thought it was very close to a 5-star match because of the story it told, plus the in-ring ability of the men in the match. It was an 8-man match, tag team match. The Ex Luger and the Giant teaming up with the Steiner brothers, who are going to be their tag team partners for the big limit for the big match at Uncensored against the NWO, where they put up all their titles on the line, that except for the U.S. title that's held by a WCW star. But they're going to put up all their titles: the cruiserweight title, the tag team titles, and the world heavyweight title up on the line to attempt at getting an attempt at winning the right to show up on any WCW show, because up to this point they were designated to only being on Saturday night telecasts. By the way, I had to pause that to add this because I realized I made a mistake. While they put up those titles um, versus their future as showing up on WCW TV in character, right, Piper was trying to win this match to earn another shot at Hogan's heavyweight title. And I really don't, as I recall, you had Piper, Benoit, McMichael, and Jarrett representing the Horsemen in Team Piper. You had Lex Luger, the Giant, um, Scott Steiner, and Rick Steiner. And that's how this all started, was because he's the one who made the challenge in the first place. And Eric Bischoff, just to get the titles back, said yes. Then he tried to backpedal out of it, and he couldn't. So That's why they added a third team, because that being Piper, because Piper deserved another shot too. So I liked I liked it at the time, but I have even more of an appreciation for it now because of listening to podcasts about WCW and WWE, and understanding things that I didn't understand back then. Have a more of an appreciation for it now as a fan, and somebody who's hoping to go into the business as an on-screen personality myself. I have more of an appreciation for it because there is a lot more storytelling than a lot of times than what we see a lot of times today. So I just wanted to share that. And I think there were only 3 teams in the entire match outside of the NWO. I think there were 2 teams in the NWO. So I think it was Piper's team. It was um, WCW's team, and then it was an NWO team. And like I've said before, if you've never watched this pay per view, or even the build up to this pay per view, then I suggest to go to Peacock and watch everything, the pay per view before it, and then the Monday Nitro episodes after it, to see what, and then the pay per view of Uncensored to really see this match, because it because this helped, I believe, inspire a match that TNA made famous, known as the Gauntlet match. And unlike Gauntlet matches in WWE, the Gauntlet match start in TNA was made famous because it started out as an over the top rope battle royal with the last two wrestlers wrestling in a traditional match. And and I believe if you see the uncensored main event, you'll know why I compare it to why I compare this main event at Uncensored 97 to the Gauntlet match that TNA made famous. Let me press play
I was
right here.
so young at the time that after a while I actually forgot that they had won this. That let me restate that. After a while, I forgot about this match, and even when we watched it, I wasn't aware of what all the men were fighting for. So now that I see how important this match was in the grand scheme of things for WCW. So their opponents were the Amazing French Canadians, PCO, and the Mountie Jacques Rougeau, and their partners were Greg the Hammer Valentine and Roadblock. Everybody on Luger's team were on the same page. Lex Luger started the match against Greg Valentine. After the forearm over the shoulder blade gave followed that up with Irish whip. Luger ducked the chop attempt and tagged Rick Steiner in. After he gave Valentine a scoop slam and incomes, Rick Steiner with his famous Steiner line. As he ran, as he ran against the ropes where Valentine's tag partner, think it was Jacques Rougeau who clotheslined him with the but that is covered by that headgear that amateur wrestlers wear. So both his brother Scott and Lex Luger were fussing with the referee like
Okay, I made a mistake here. Let me do it a little bit.
same page. Lex Luger started the match against Greg Valentine. After taking Luger down to his feet and knees with a forearm over the shoulder blade, Lex Luger gave he gave followed that up with an Irish whip to Luger to the ropes. Luger ducked the chop attempt and Luger tagged Steiner in. After he gave Valentine a scoop slam, and in comes Rick Steiner with his famous Steiner line. As he ran, as he ran against the ropes where Valentine's tag partners were, think it was Jacques Rougeau who clotheslined him with his left arm and came close to the left side of his ear, but that is covered by that headgear that amateur wrestlers wear. So both his brother Scott and Lex Luger were fussing with the referee like, Come on, you gotta tell them something. Tagged in the tagged in Roadblock, and when he went to the middle rope, jumped to the middle rope onto Rick Steiner with Splash, Rick Steiner rolled out the way and he fell straight down on the mat. So tags in his brother Scott came in, the T-bone suplex, then tagged in the Giant, who finished the entire match with the famous choke slam. Call that a 4.5-star match because of the story that was being told and the wrestling they did in the match. And I do and like I wrote right here, I remember Scott Hall. No, I remember Big Show tape. The Big Show is the Giant at this time, taking Scott Hall's famous line, which I thought was funny. As a matter of fact, my brother said that I used this when we were kids once, and that's when I realized, that's when I discovered there's right and wrong way of doing it, and I chose the wrong time to use that. Anyway, so Lex Luger said, "Don't pretend to get in Roddy Piper's business, but or to tell him how to handle his business." But in a nutshell, he said he thought it was a mistake to trust the Horseman, which was a good and it was a really good way to add to the story. So I like that. But what I really liked, if I'm not mistaken, was no, I'm sorry, it may have been 1 or 2 weeks before this, where the Giants used Scott Hall's famous line, "Don't sing it, bring it." And the reason I love that is because not only is it one of their own, is it not only is it one of the NWO members' lines, but they've given not just the Giant who said it, but every wrestler plenty of reasons to use it before this. Because of all the times they made idle threats before that, that's why I thought it was warranted. That got that out the way. The one thing that Jim Ross did say was that because he was always one thing he's always been good at is talking as a fan himself. Um, so talking on behalf of the fans has always been a specialty. So that's why whether he was sitting down at the announce desk or he was grabbing a microphone and interviewing people, either way, those were his best qualities. Those I think that's what we could call his gift because not only did he excel in that, but who better to say it than somebody who has always been a fan. Ken Shamrock said that it's an honor and privilege to be a part of WrestleMania 13. See how he started off this quote promo, so to speak. Because as Jamal said, they respect fans respect him immensely, but they're also wondering kind of official he's going to be in this submission match. Said he'd like to say hello to all the fans out there. Great to be in the WWE, said. So another thing he'd like to do is it's an honor to be part of the pay per view, but it's a privilege to be part of the match as referee. Yeah, he said he's been fighting and submission fighting his whole life. said for him, as referee, wants to make sure nothing gets out of hand and nobody tries to intimidate him. Do you remember that at one point he was trying to warn Billy Gunn not to mess with not to mess with him, but if he messes with him, he's gonna have to show him what he can do. And he made it clear later on that he was trying not to hurt him. Maybe the next episode when he did that. Let's see. He's right. It doesn't matter if they like it or not. He says their problem if they don't. He said when he was pointing out, Ross pointing out how in any situation like this, people watching it as well as the commentators and the promoters and people like that that are part of the show don't want, whether it's an MMA fight or whether it's pro wrestling. The truth is they don't want anything like that. Hold on. Okay, so anybody that's in a situation like this, or situations like what Steve Austin and Bret Hart had, in any in this case, you don't want anything to get out of hand. That's why it's so important to have somebody like Ken Shamrock come in as the referee. As far as rules go, I think just the fact it was a submission match. I think there were no rules needed besides whoever can make their opponent submit to win. Let's face it, the way they reacted around each other, I don't think rules really mattered anymore. But he was telling Shamrock to shut his mouth. We couldn't see who it was. It was Steve Austin, I had a feeling.
I'm sorry about the about me snorting or whatever that is. I have really serious problem with allergies. So sometimes it happens and I don't expect it. So I know every time I record it's gonna be a big risk. I just don't realize until I look back at the video how bad my allergies had gotten at that point of the day. I'm sorry about that.
Steve Austin was saying he was pretty much making the threat that if he's gonna be a referee, they're pretty much threatening that he's gonna stomp a mud hole in him. Which that in itself, who care how tough Steve Austin was supposed to be, and Shamrock is more dangerous when it comes to fighting than Stone Cold is. Somehow he's getting another title shot. Bret Hart is. Austin said he didn't know what he's doing, and he was right. It is a bunch of BS on one hand. On the other hand, being that he cost Bret Hart the title, he should have seen it coming. So yeah, somewhere down the line, he's gonna win. He's gonna have a shot at the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight title. By the way, in real life, around the time Steve Austin became King of the Ring, they were thinking of making him heavyweight champion right off, right off the bat, and Steve Austin was wise enough to listen to Bret Hart. So that's one of the reasons this happened in the first place, was because Bret Hart wanted I think he wanted to run against Steve Austin to teach him. Let's see how this ends.
What I meant to say was, as I'm hearing my own voice, I don't think I made it quite clear. What I was trying to say was, I believe he has to work with him in the first place because he could see that he could teach him a lot, and that's why it was smart of Steve Austin to listen to Bret Hart. Because even though he had been around a long time, he never had anybody teach him outside of maybe Ric Flair, but that was not what we had seen on TV, the fans that is. But Ric Flair did teach him a little bit as one night in WCW, and then I'm sure he taught him every day they saw each other in WCW, taught him outside of the ring. But nobody had ever taught him like this as an opponent like Bret Hart did. So that's why this is such an important um, quote rivalry for Stone Cold Steve Austin because nobody had taught him like Bret Hart did prior to this. Nobody had taught him probably anything Bret Hart could teach him because they were perfect for each other because they were so opposite of each other. One was a technical master, and the other one, by his own admission, even though he's a pretty good mechanic, he was nowhere near being a technician like Bret Hart is. So he was humble enough to say, "I gotta listen to him. Everything he teaches me, thing he wants to teach me, I need to learn so I could get better." So that I do admire Steve Austin for that.
Steve Austin ended this by admitting that he wasn't planning on giving up. He ain't giving up in anything in his life. And Ken Shamrock, by the way, was a trained wrestler before he was a mixed martial arts fighter. So he said he didn't bring his tights because his only duty is to be a referee at WrestleMania 13. Middle of this, Bret Hart's coming out. I guess he wants to have a word with Ken Shamrock himself. This is at the time time, and they still had steps in the middle of the ring. And by the way, I always thought that was a good idea. I don't know why they changed it to where the steps had to be on the closer to the still post. But I got a feeling it they thought it made it easier, especially when it got out of hand in the Attitude Era. Red Hard was saying that he was out there to make a comment about what has been happening the last 3 weeks with himself and Austin, and that all being stolen from him, or maybe not stolen from him as much as Steve Austin costing him the title. And he said he thought, sarcastically said, I thought it was nice of them to let me come right out and talk about that. That was just the fourth time he won the title, he said. They said he had it ripped off the following night. What he was saying true was too was also true that it didn't seem they were doing anything about it. And he mentioned how people have been pointing out to him on signs and said, "Oh, Bret Hart's crying again." Said, "I'm sorry that I'm crying, but I think about how to hear with the lack of justice in the company." He right here, Gorilla Monsoon is still on-screen president of the company. He said that um that he's been, I think he's been screaming at Monsoon for so long and crying about everything for so long. He said he's finally given me a little credit. Oh, so that's why they were in a 15-foot high steel cage. So the week after this, they go against each other in the blue steel cage where the only way to win is by escaping the cage.
At some point during this video, I guess I ended the video by going over the camera a little too quickly. So I just stopped the recording completely. I'm gonna have to add the other videos in here live. Hope y'all don't mind. That's the best way I could think of doing it without taking too long. Thank you, and I'm gonna press play right here. I believe the reason I was so quiet was I was trying to find out what they were saying by reading the closed caption. So if y'all wonder that why I take so long in these videos, it's because I'm reading the caption to know what to say.
And he said to Psycho Sid You're not as good as me. You never were, and you never were as good as me. And next Monday night, you'll be looking at the fifth time WW or World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champ.
He said that he was going to be a fifth time WWE heavyweight champion by the end of their match the week after. That's what I said. I'm not sure if you could hear that on the video, so that's why I say that. Sounded kind of choppy, and I don't know why.
Syracuse, New York is where they're going to be at next week. And I read on Twitter that when ECW used to go there, they used to sell it out, and it was, I think, um, if I figures in money is $100,000, then it was like four-figure ticket numbers that I think 10,000 or plus, 10,000 or more was how many sold out the ECW arenas in Syracuse. So it's really an interesting time to look at ticket sales and from the past and present because it just makes you wonder what really what what really draws fans today. That's the one question I have. In Red Heart City, you feel sorry for Undertaker because he's got his hopes up. He said that the one who's gonna real get a real lucky or unlucky break is Stone Cold because when they face each other for the title at WrestleMania, because it, because not only is 13 like an unlucky number to superstitious people, but in this case, it's not just because of the number 13, but it's because of submission wrestling, and Steve Austin will even say himself he's not good in submission wrestling. So it took all he had to do just to prepare, just to fight him, because there's this, even though he could have learned to fit the figure four, I don't know. That seems pretty hard when you're not a submission wrestler. It seems pretty hard to learn to do submission hold, especially when you had so many stories, so many episodes to be on, and so many stories to tell before that match happened. So it made it even harder to know how to prepare for it, I'm sure. He's telling Steve Austin bring everything he had because he's gonna wind up feeling sorry he ever crossed Bret Hart's path. Then he went back to fussing about all these different people. I'm not even gonna say the word because my dad told me once it's another word for the expletive word. In other words, he felt like he was ripped off by everybody from referees to the president of the company or interim president of the company to Vince McMahon. to send to Steve Austin himself. Said he's cried about it. He said, as for you, that I like you and you're cool with me.
He's referring to Ken Shamrock. I thought mentioned that in this live video. So I just want to clear that up before I continue this.
Wait, I know about your reputation, but if you say one thing, Shamrock, Ken Shamrock, I've been blanked by everybody. If you think for 1 second, if you want to blank with me at WrestleMania 13, it will be the biggest mistake that you ever made. I don't think Ken Shamrock was the person to say that to. He said to Bret Hart, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not here to help you with your problems. I'm only here to referee a match, make sure the rules are fair. That one man will win that match, and I will raise the man's hand. That's all I was hired to do. That is all I will do. And Austin was actually at the entrance ramp right here, flipping them off, and all I can say is it was a fun time to watch, but looking back at it, being a rep, being an overgrown rebel, really, in so many words, but it
What I was trying to say, as choppy as it sounds right here, is being a rebel. And then I said the rest right
really
here.
all it does is encourage kids to never grow up. That's why that's what was wrong with this character.
That's what was wrong with Stone Cold Steve Austin's character. Was that when you see somebody act like that, then you think that it's okay to not grow up. It's okay not to mature. It's okay not to grow up because they don't realize a lot of times what they're seeing is not real life. There may be elements of realism in the character, but what they're doing is not real life. So that's what was really wrong with that character. Seeing a character like that is you don't understand the importance of listening to people. You don't see the importance of obeying. You don't see the importance of respecting authority. So that's what was wrong with the Stone Cold character, I find.
Come, they they show a commercial for the to promote the Slammy Awards. By the way, I think they brought the Slammies back for some at the WrestleMania store. Um, 5 days before WrestleMania, one of the things the fans are going to be able to enjoy in Philadelphia are the Slammies. I forgot how they brought it back, but if you read about it online, you find more about it than I can say. Honky Tonk Man is in the ring, possibly going to introduce Aldo Montoya's opponent, or he's gonna try to sing with Aldo in the ring. Without doing the ring, I don't think that's a good idea. And Honky Tonk Man even said he felt like he deserved a better response that they gave him. He said, "I'm not singing anything for you," said I. How comes Billy Gunn, I believe, um, and I don't mind saying it either, even though he was supposed to be, he had spent 2 or 3 years being a Western wearing cowboy with Bart. By this time, he was growing. He was coming into his own as a singles guy, and he didn't look like he belonged in the cowboy gimmick anymore. The last time they had done anything with him, it looked like he hurt his neck, but it was just a stinger. So they said, thankfully, it was still a little stinger of an injury. It wasn't that severe. So he's going here against Aldo Montoya, and they said that the gun's from the state of Texas, and he may have been from the state of Texas in real life. I'm not really sure. Now, one thing I'm having trouble understanding why they made the mask for Aldo the way they did. Doesn't Usually masks cover everything, but only have a slit where the mouth is. Not Not only do they not cover the head, they don't even cover. It's easier to see who Aldo is. I've actually interviewed Aldo before without his mask, and I can tell you who he is by looking at him.
Let me restate that. I interviewed the person who wrestled under the Aldo Montoya mask. After seeing him, the real person, and do actually used to do a YouTube series where he would, it was called Pro Wrestling 101. And one of the things he spoke about was cutting promos. Another time, he spoke about how important managers are and things of that nature. So that's how I know that that mask did not really help Aldo Montoya, at least in this match, because if you look back at this and you know who he is without the mask on, you're like, oh, that's whoever he is. I, People may have never seen the character. I don't want to ruin it for y'all. So I suggest watching this Raw's War episode, March 10th, 1997, so that y'all can see who it is, because I think he is very recognizable. Here I go, press play again.
But without him telling me, I could see it. See, he was starting to grow facial hair right here, and it's very easy to see he's the same person. Honky Tonk Man's talking about Billy Gunn and what he's really looking for. Not just from Billy Gunn, but really anybody, and what he thought he could get for Billy Gunn. It's almost like a modern day version of himself. Well, the closest he got was Road Dog Jesse James. Instead of going for him, he went for Billy Gunn first. Billy Gunn was going really well right here. Did the Tree of Woe to embarrass him a little bit. Went for an Irish whip. But if he doesn't kick out of this sunset flip pin attempt, gonna lose. Clothesline takes down Aldo.
Okay, now it's time. Now it's time to remove. Let's see. Go all the way down. to get this. I pressed stop in the last episode, so that's continued. Even realized this, but Junto Guerrera and Ultimo Dragon already wrestled with 2 3 minutes or more of the match they're having. People want to know what happened at the end of Aldo Montoya versus Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn won the match. We went to the back, and then I went to see what happened on Monday Nitro, and it was the Ultimate Dragon with Sonny Ono versus Juventud Guerrero, and that's what I'm talking about right here. Okay, I don't know what happened, but obviously I pressed stop in the last episode, so that's continued. Even realized this, but Juventud Guerrera and Ultimo Dragon already wrestled with 2 3 minutes or more of the match they're having. Okay. Ultimo Dragon or Ultimate Dragon. It's the only one I know that his mask comes down and covers, I believe, covers the shoulders. I was talking about this because I had to rewind it a little bit to get to the beginning of the match. So talking, was looking at their entrance, and I had realized how Ultimate Dragon's mask had extensions for the shoulder to get extensions put the mask to come down to where his shoulders are. That's what I was talking about. But I think they did that to complement the name he's going by. Rape maneuvers here, shoulder block, leapfrog, blocking, hip toss, going for an elbow drop, that getting out of the way of the elbow drop. Couple of chops. I went to Guerrera to Elbow Dragon, Irish Whip, reversal by Ultimate Dragon, and going straight into the corner, and blocking Frankenstein. All great maneuvers to go with head scissors and then a drop kick. Head scissors followed by a drop kick by Juntu Guerrera. The outside Sonny Ono's kicking Juntu Guerrera. He runs away. He's the referee. He won't have any idea what he's doing. And Dragon comes out with the axe handle, jumps from the apron onto Guerrero with an axe handle over his rotator cuff. Irish whip reversal into the guardrail that's keeping them away from what looks like a pool. See, Irish whip blocked by Ultimate Dragon. A couple of chops still. He's blocking it. So, and when those chops didn't have any effect, he turned them around. Rights and lefts. Irish whip reversal. 2 and 2. Back body drop. Ultimate Dragon lands on his feet.
So giving him kicks. I always like to maybe do the right, left, and then do a spin kick to finish it. I like that. But he just did. No,
Outside, when they're outside, it looked like they built a guardrail because in the Panama City Beach, Florida arena they used to go to, but they had to make a special entrance set for the from the entrance to the ring. And going to the ring, it was like everything had to be one special platform to cover up what looked like to be a pool that you go inside of. So the barricade, it looked like a specialized barricade that made of like a guardrail, and if they were not careful without that, they could have knocked somebody in without meaning to. So I think it was very smart of them to add a plat guardrail like piece attached to the platform the ring was on top of.
a kick to the back of the neck up for the 2. Oh, kick to the back. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Irish whip. Puts. I'm not sure what this is. Puts him up on his shoulders and neck so that make almost look like a bow and arrow. He turns around and boom, lands on his knees to drop him. Goes for what I believe we call surfboard, which is when you put your opponent's legs against your where their knees are. You put your kick their legs so their legs come up, so you put your leg right where your boot is, on both of the boot. Then you pull up on their arms and you sit down. Sometimes you lay down to complete it. Only one time did I ever see anybody almost get a win, almost get a 3 count by countering this. This time, Ultimate Dragon decides to throw him off so that he wouldn't have a chance of countering getting out of it. It does the Tully Blanchard like springboard springboard suplex. Slingshot suplex actually looks like to kick out the shoulder up by Humberto Guerrera. Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna
man.
pause
You went for that release.
this. I'm gonna pause live recording. Hopefully, it'll be up later on so that I can finish it. Good. Had to add this stage because I just resumed the recording. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to keep this for a few minutes. So when I lost connection to internet and I restarted it, I just found out that I could keep it. Okay, this is Daniel Vail with I'm gonna try to upload the second video if I find right here from the March 10th episode of Raw vs. Nitro in 1997. So here I go. I'm gonna hit this video right here, video file, and I'm just gonna hope that it's the right one because it looks just like Looks like just like what I uploaded earlier. So this part too.
Happened, but obviously I pressed stop in the last episode. So that's continued. Even realized this, but I went to Guerrero and they're having.
Okay, usually when I talk like this without sound on the computer, you can still hear me talk in the video. So I hope that's true. Because sometimes it's hard sometimes to sit here and listen to myself when I'm recording pre-recording and I'm trying to find
Ultimo
the
Dragon
right.
or Ultimate Dragon. It's
Oh,
the
I'm
only one
sorry.
I know.
Forgot to press pause. Okay. So I backed up the pre-recorded video. I got a feeling I may have cut into my own recording, so backed it up so I could finish talking. Okay. Um, if any of y'all make it past the first hour of this episode, then thank you. Um, I'm gonna try to do the rest of these episodes on live video. I'm not really sure how to do it um, without myself being in the video because I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know how. I don't know how to press record on the camera and have it be a separate. Have it be a separate. Have it be a video where I show video only and I want to talk about it like I'm doing right here. So I don't know how to do that, but what I do know is trying things out as best policy. So I'm going to try that too. Finish right here, so let's press play.
Ultimo Dragon or Ultimate Dragon. It's the only one I know that his mask comes down and covers, I believe, covers the shoulders. But I think they did that to complement the name he's going by. Great maneuvers here. Shoulder block, leapfrog, blocking, hip toss, going for an elbow drop, that getting out of the way of the elbow drop. A couple of chops, I went to Guerrera to Mo Dragon, Irish whip, reversal by Ultimate Dragon, and going straight into the corner, and blocking Frankenstein, or all great maneuver, all great maneuvers to go with head scissors and then a drop kick. Head scissors followed by a drop kick by Huntu Guerrera. The outside Saniono's kicking Huntu Guerrera. He runs away, so the referee won't have any idea what he's doing. And Dragon comes out with the axe handle, jumps from the apron onto outside onto Guerrero with an axe handle over his rotator cuff. Irish whip reversal into the guardrail that's keeping them away from what looks like a pool. Let's see. Irish whip blocked by Ultimate Dragon. A couple of chops. Still, he's blocking it. So, and when those chops didn't have any effect, he turned them around. Rights and lefts. Irish whip reversal. 2 and 2. Back body drop. Ultimate Dragon lands on his feet. Starts giving him kicks. I always like to maybe do the right, left, and then do a spin kick to finish it. I like that. But he just did. And a kick to the back of the neck of Juventude. Oh, kick to the back. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Irish whip. Puts. I'm not sure what this is. Puts him up on his shoulders and makes that like almost look like a bow and arrow. He turns around and boom, lands on his knees to drop him. Goes for what I believe we call surfboard, which when you put your opponent's legs against your where their knees are. You put your kick their legs so their legs come up, so you put your leg right where your boot is, both of on both of your boot. Then you pull up on their arms and you sit down, sometimes lay down to complete it. Only one time did I ever see anybody almost get a 3 count by countering this. This time, Ultimate Dragon decides to throw him off so that he wouldn't have a chance of countering it or getting out of it. It does the Tully Blanchard like springboard suplex. Slingshot suplex actually hooks leg to kick out the shoulder up by Juventud Guerrera. Oh, that. He went for that release during suplex. Juventud Guerrera lands on his feet. Comes back and he gets picked up in the air. When he gets picked up in midair. He drop kicks Ultimate Dragon. He rolls out to the floor. They have a big cardboard cutout, I believe, over the steel posts of Monday Nitro ring as an advertisement for PlayStation and TNT being their advertising partners. Somersault from the top rope from the top rope by Jigura, uh, perfectly executed on Ultimate Dragon outside. Gets him back in the ring. Uh, Springboard. Oh, he actually missed um, corkscrew mule kick, I believe. So like to kick out. That should not have even been enough to be a 1 count, but I give him credit for giving ultimate for giving who into 2 counts from that. Irish whip reversal by Ultimate Dragon, and number 2 comes with a quick inverted O'Connor roll to kick out. Actually, I think I got that wrong. It's just a victory roll. Think you have to be behind your opponent for it to be the O'Connor roll. So, kind of got that wrong, but it's okay. Irish foot in the corner, into the knee, into the knee. See, running down power bomb by the Ultimate Dragon. He's not gonna try to win with that. Let's see, it looks like he's going for a Frankensteiner himself on the top rope. Gets going for. Let's show what kind of suplex this is called. Tiger suplex. 3 count. Gets the match. Wins the match. Very close to 5-star, I have to admit. Okay. This this as far as matches go, this beat Billy Gunn versus Aldo Montoya. Sorry, Aldo and Billy, but I think this was a better match because it was back and forth. Gotta pause this. I believe what I was trying to say is because it was a back and forth match and it wasn't supposed to be a squash match, I think that's why Juventud versus Ultimate was more of a better match for what I like to watch. And it was nothing against Aldo versus Billy Gunn. They did their job right, and I applaud them for that. But as a fan, I prefer seeing back and forth. Matter of fact, when you look at it, what Aldo can do, he was a very good jobber. So it's no wonder he went on to have so much success when he went into ECW and he changed his name because he was good as a job guy. So he became an even better regular. He became a better regular wrestler when he did not have to make guys look good. When he could show how good he could really be, he was one of the best. So good that I remember once they used him against Raven in TNA in a storyline when he was trying to get another shot at the heavyweight title, and Larry Zbyszko was making his life an, as close to a nightmare as he could get, because he was making Larry's life a nightmare. So, so yeah, Aldo Montoya is is one of the best. Has been one of the best out there many years. I want to make that clear that I hold nothing against them. They're very good wrestlers. Just the style, I just prefer seeing men going back and forth because I think that's. I'm not saying there's no merit to job guys. There is because most job guys, they're there just like the word says to earn their spot. And back in the old days, that was how you broke through. Unless you had a look, unless you had a look or you came from or you had like an athletic background, most people started out as a job guy. So I because that's how they earned their spot. But the way things are today, you don't see that a lot. And I think that's just a sign of how the business has changed. Okay, let me press play. I'm really running out of ideas to speak right now. So we just press play. Okay. Mankind's in the back with the nerve. See what he has to say, but Paul Bearer comes. See, he's telling Paul, I think I have, calls him Uncle Paul. I think a much better grasp of reality than people think. Realized I don't need arms. I think he threw that down. Said I don't need mommy. World Wrestling Federation would like you to believe that I just called out. That's an indistinct word. Said Uncle Paul, I spent my entire life, all life in preparation for this moment, and I've got scars to prove it. Now they want to make a big deal of the Undertaker and Psycho Sid, while the real story is Mankind and the man they call Vader. Our team, Undertaker, you you know me very well. Psycho Sid, you're about to know me real well. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. You'll find out what happens when you take a bite out of the baddest apple on this league. Now there's a commercial, 45-second commercial here. Now, tomorrow night is the 27th 27th anniversary of WrestleMania 13. Um, I I like to go in sequence with pay-per-views, so gonna have to instead of doing history, I can't do I can't watch Gold Dust. However, I got a feeling it was interrupted by China and Hunter Helmsley. Marlena's trying. They, she's on the back of China. They can't get her off fast enough. Marlena's not really a trained wrestler, but I like how they showed her personality in that way. She's small and everything, so obviously it's the type of person that mess with her man, she's gonna fight back. And if you mess with her, she's gonna fight back. I like how they showed that part of that side of her character, which is probably based off of reality. Okay. No, this would not work today, not because it's not this version of Goldust would not work today because if you have a character that's anywhere close to being homosexual, if they're not like that in real life, people frown on that. So that would not work today, but at the time it was for me personally, it's something I was not used to, so it it weirds me out, and I think, and call me whatever you want to be quite honest with you, I don't care, because I believe truth is more important than anything else that people tell you. But the truth is okay, that's when I accidentally stopped it. I had to remove it and find the third part. Right, I don't know what happened, but once again it got turned off. had a debate with Jerry Lawler and Paul Heyman. I not really interested in that. But they had their ECW Tag Team Champions and Tommy Dreamer come out. So Jerry Lawler was calling for some people to come out, join them. I've got to be honest, I'm surprised that people like the Road Warriors didn't come out.
Hmm.
Because he helped the Road Warriors a lot when they started. As a matter of fact, he was the first person to try a pile driver, which is his tried and true finisher. And he thought, because that was his big finish, that there's no way Huck's getting up from this. But he turns around, Huck was standing up, he didn't know what to do. So there's one there's two people that could come out, make it feel like make it feel like three or four men, but it'd be Huck and Animal. They already showed them. I don't think them coming out would have helped anything. Okay. Looks like everything's going just fine, but they start fighting and turns into a count out, and hmm, right along the line, they go from fighting each other to going back to being a regular match. Psycho Sid almost got pinned by Vader right here. Undertaker fighting off Mankind in the entrance ramp. Psycho Sid decided to go out and go after the Undertaker. Even powerbomb the Undertaker. See, Vader decided to go for the Okay, he gets pushed off. I don't know why Psycho Sid would do that. He's not supposed to care if he wins or not. Just powerbombed his own tactic partner. Now, okay, so this was officially, I believe this officially we refer to this as a no contest. So it goes, he leaves the ring. He's gonna go to the dressing room. It's officially 30 seconds left. And Bret Hart gets one final promo. Okay, okay, so that's how Raw ended. Let me see how Nitro ended. Okay, okay, minute left. A full minute commercial for looks like Walgreens. Okay, I'm not good with putting two videos together. So that's very difficult, but I will say this. It's gonna be on this, the video before it, and the video before that are all three gonna be on Launchpad 1. Okay, Chris Jericho. I think he was still the he was still considered the Lionheart. Goes against the American male uh, Scotty Riggs. That's what it was. Somebody from MTV was on Nitro earlier announcing that there's a show called Fame of Shame during spring break, and that Hall and Nash are going to be on there during spring break. That's probably why he brought out that beauty queen in a bikini. Like I said, unnecessary, but it happened. Okay, side headlock by Jericho, thrown off by Scotty Riggs. Ducks the clothesline, comes back. It's picked up by Riggs, goes around him, but he lands on his feet, goes around with the waist lock. Gets pushed off by Scotty Riggs, held onto the ropes. Leapfrog by Chris Jericho. Runs at Chris Jericho with the right elbow. Okay, scoop slam. Okay, cover looks like two. A shoulder up by Jericho. Rear chin lock by Scotty Riggs to Chris Jericho. Right as this is going on, I think Bobby Heenan was doing the commentary by this time, so he said he was riding Buff Bagwell's coattails the whole time. So so he's just he's just getting good now. Because they have one more week to no, not one more week. This was the final. Was the final live front censored, so I think that, by the way, at the end of this, Harlem came out to fight with Sister Sherry to fight off Public Enemy, and I think that's how we got our answer about what was going to happen with the Public Enemy's match with the
Uh,
Horsemen.
all right. Let's see.
That was the answer. Have Harlem Heat go against them. So the block takedown by Scotty Riggs to Jericho, runs over the back of Jericho. Go to the other side. Ducks the clothesline by Jericho. He gets hit with a belly to belly overhead suplex by Jericho. Trailing out to the ring apron. See. By the way, Scotty Riggs was at Sting's last match pay per view last earlier this month, and I believe, yeah, he was there not just because he's friends with Sting and he wanted to support him. He was there to meet Adam Cole and Britt Baker and say how much he liked their work. I think that's pretty nice to him because his they probably watched him growing up, so they probably think a lot of what he's saying. Springworth's drop kick knocks Scotty Riggs to the off the apron onto the Mad Mad Act by ringside. Let's see, forearm to Riggs. Let's see, vertical. suplex. Interesting. This is about a good year, maybe not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Um, this may have been a good 4 months before they first showed Goldberg, and he just used the finisher that Goldberg uses. Vertical suplex power slam combination. Jericho used it here. Rush whip, ooh, clothesline, the corner, perfectly executed to by Jericho to Scotty Riggs. Kick into the gut. Let's see. Irish whip, reversal. Ooh, runs into a boot by Jericho. Let's see. Ooh, gets hit with an inverted power slam as a counter by Scotty Riggs. Drop kick, drop kick. Okay. Ooh. He gets slowed down, but Jericho pushed his feet forward so he could land on the turnbuckle pad. Let's see what Jericho does here. Ooh, ooh. Let's hit a top rope, shoulder block takedown, hooks the leg to kick out, right shoulder up. By the way, at Uncensored, Riggs and Bagwell go against each other in a strap match. I've always been a gimmick fan, which I started writing a gimmick match fan, excuse me. In fact, I started writing about one gimmick match specifically, and but I just started writing about started doing list article on Sports Skeet about Last Man Standing match, and just thought I'd share that. I know how important it is to share those things. So I hope y'all. I hope when it's finished, I hope y'all do read it. More importantly, I hope it gets past. Okay, Marcus Bagwell is interrupting with a strap as we speak. He starts fighting with Jericho. Jericho hits him with a spin kick. They shake hands, go to commercial break, and after Riggs and Jericho got Bagwell out of the ring, Riggs and Jericho shook hands and went to commercial break. Medusa's interviewed about how amazing it is at spring break, especially in spring break, when people should be paying attention. Some people think they should be paying attention to women's wrestling or to women itself, so to speak. However, however, they should have just been paying attention to what the women can do in the ring. That part I do agree with Medusa on that. Herself, the short-lived women's title itself is not getting the focus it needed to be. You can see Medusa was just getting through the tunnel as they show Gene and on the screen. He said how he's known just for a long time since she broke into the business. He said, "Welcome to spring break." He wanted to bring up what happened between herself and Luna Vachon recently. She said that there's been women coming into the company saying not only that they're number one contender, but they're trying to take that from her and say they could kick. But she said now even managers are starting to want a piece of her. She asked Luna Vachon after pointing out how much how far she's willing to go and travel for that matter to try to win the title. Then she said she'll do whatever she can has to win the title. And she said to Bashan, "Why aren't you here if you're so bad?"
That's why I keep this on audio as much as I can, so realize mistakes I make when I speak. What I should have said was, she said, if you want so badly to prove you belong or deserve to be number one contender, why aren't you out here instead of me? So let me finish playing this.
Go to, I think Gino Krillin, the last thing he had to say was, "I think you'd be happy with it happened at Timbuktu." They said, "There's got plenty more action to come, so stay tuned as we go commercial break."
I don't know why, but I guess because I speak too low a lot of times. But I can hear myself say, I think you would be happy. That was what me and Jean told Medusa. Think she would have been happy if she and Luna Vachon had a match against each other and bit Timbuktu if they had to. Then he finished the interview segment.
And next thing they do is they talk to Lee Marsh, who was used to do on the road a lot in these days. With like go used to do like I think they used to do house shows, and in the middle of house shows, they used to have people like Lee Marshall, and I think Chris Cruz would do a would do a, a phone call using supposedly using 1-800 collect, letting them
They would take the time out of what they were doing. He was trying, Lee Marshall was making a phone call. That's what I was trying to say. And on occasion, they would show not just Lee Marshall like they did right here in this Monday Nitro episode, but also I think even saw Chris Cruz make a phone call to them letting them know what was happening in the on the road version of Monday Nitro. And that's what I was talking about right here. And I still think that was interesting. Now they don't use collect calls anymore. I don't know of any place where they still have payphones, so there's no purpose for having anything like 1-800 collect or 10 through 20 or 10 through 20 collect, which came out later on. So so that's why I like looking back at this. It's not only is it history, but it shows how everything has changed in the past 20 plus years. So let me just continue, press and play. Know what the fans have been telling him on the during the house shows he's been to. He said he said when he gets on the next jet for next Turner jet, he's going to a Nitro party. But I think something about I'm talking about, and it's gonna be in Charleston, West Virginia, maybe. And he talked about uncensored. See what he said. And that was happened to be where uncensored was happening in this year, the year '97. He even spoke about going to a naval academy there, and that's when he was able to promote. I said before, when I see beautiful women, sometimes it's hard for me to know what to say. And right here, there's somebody called, I might have really been sure what his name is, but outside of the ring, he has this, sorry, this isn't the same guy I'm thinking of, but he's a job guy, and Kevin Sullivan dispatches of him right away, almost right away. As a matter of fact, I think, I don't even think they get back to the ring. I think it's over completely. They even threw the guy in the pool. The whole point of this is to remind people of how they're too legit to quit. I really don't know what purpose is here when the, their entire storyline, people that they go against, when half of them is going to be in the main event at Uncensored, so I don't know what they want to talk about right here.
He was telling Roddy Piper like going into battle unprepared makes him the smartest man he knows. He's saying that now they have something to focus on and he doesn't want any excuses. The Four Horsemen, that is. I'm sorry. He said, without Ric Flair and the Horsemen there's no hit. Even, Berlin, after they said no excuse, said, letting you know, no excuses for this Sunday. They had a feeling something was going to happen. He said, well, if I could just say what some of the guys were saying at the car wash about Miss Jacqueline. Very nice indeed, he said. After NWO cut their promo, the the Public Enemy started fighting with Harlem Heat, and that's how the show ended. So I'm gonna end here. And we got the next topic's gonna be uncensored. Then I'm gonna talk about WrestleMania. First, talk about Monday Night Raw, and I'll talk first is Nitro. The night after uncensored. Then I'll talk about WrestleMania 13 later on. Thank you and goodbye. All right, did I remove this? Let me just say this. Um, I guess because of the time and I was getting kind of tired when I finished that part of the video. So let me say it this way: one half of Public Enemy was criticized, thought that Piper made a big mistake trusting the Horsemen because of how Ric Flair always acts like he had an epileptic fit, and I would not. And I, when I first heard that, I was like, "This, y'all are known for not even wrestling, but you're gonna criticize somebody who made a career out of exploiting the art part, using the artistry of wrestling in his career." And I know that's got nothing to do with it, but that's just how I thought about it when I first heard it. Point was I didn't think there's any purpose of fussing about that kind of action when they actually acted sillier than that just by the way they would walk out to the ring sometimes. Anyway, that led to that was Johnny Grunge who fussed about Ric Flair's the way he acts when he gets excited. Then Rock started talking about uncensored, and that's when they started fighting with Harlem Heat, and that's when they went off the air. So I think we got the answer that we were looking for, the fans, that is. That the match between Harlem Heat and, no, not Harlem Heat, Horseman members Steve McMichael and
Jeff Jarrett versus Public Enemy in a rematch at the pay per view was not going to happen because they joined with Chris Benoit, they joined Roddy Piper and Uncensored. And we got the answer right there that they're going to have a match at Uncensored because they were fighting in the middle of the ending segment on Nitro. So I'm glad I spoke about that and watched it as I was speaking because I actually did forget about that part. So I can't wait to talk about Uncensored later on. Thank you and goodbye. Actually, I can't wait because it's one of my favorite pay per views from that time, and I remember that Uncensored 97, that was when my best friend came to spend the night. No, let me say that. It's when his mom brought him to watch the pay per view, and then they went home and we went to school the next day. That's why it's so meaningful to me, is because my best friend was watching it with us. Matter of fact, that may have been I think it was the only pay per view we watched together live. That's why I get so excited about watching this because it brings back good memories. Thank you and goodbye.